Imagine being the literal best at your job, the kind of person who can look at a speck of dust and tell you which street corner it came from, only to have a single freak accident trap you inside your own body. Now, imagine that while you're stuck there, a psychopath starts turning your city into a personal scavenger hunt made of human remains. Lincoln Rhyme was the king of forensics in New York City, a guy who wrote the book on crime scenes, literally. But after a heavy piece of equipment crushed his spine during an investigation, he's left as a quadriplegic. He's got one working finger, a brilliant mind, and honestly, a massive chip on his shoulder. He's at the point where he's actually looking into ways to end his own life because he can't stand the cage his body has become. But as fate would have it, the universe isn't done with him yet. On the other side of town, we meet Amelia Donaghy. She's a patrol officer who's about to have the worst shift of her life. She gets a call about something weird near the train tracks, and when she digs into the dirt, she finds a hand reaching out of the earth. And not just any hand. The skin has been shaved off one finger to reveal a massive, expensive-looking ring. Now this is where Amelia shows she's not your average cop. She realizes the crime scene is being washed away by the wind and passing trains. So what does she do? She grabs a disposable camera from a nearby shop and literally stops a train to preserve the evidence. It's a total boss move that catches the attention of the higher-ups, including Lincoln's old partners. They take the evidence to Lincoln's high-tech apartment, and the moment he sees those photos, you can see the spark come back into his eyes. He realizes this isn't just a random mugging gone wrong. The killer left a signature. There was a bolt and a scrap of paper buried with the body. It's a trail. Lincoln realizes he needs a pair of eyes on the ground, someone who hasn't been jaded by years of desk work. He demands Amelia be assigned to him. She's terrified, honestly. She was planning on transferring to a desk job in the public school system to get away from the violence, but Lincoln basically blackmails her into staying. He tells her she has a gift, even if it's a gift that makes her want to throw up every time she looks at a corpse. The killer strikes again, taking a young woman and a businessman. He's not just killing them, he's staging them. He takes the man to a dark, damp basement and ties him up near a steam pipe. Now here is where things get truly twisted. The killer isn't just a murderer, he's a collector. He's obsessed with the history of New York, specifically the gruesome parts. Lincoln and Amelia are racing against the clock as they find more clues. A bit of hair, some beef bone, and a scrap of paper with a symbol. Lincoln realizes the killer is using a very old book as a blueprint for these murders. At this point, you're probably thinking, just track the book, right? Well, it's New York. There are about 1 billion old books. Lincoln has to push Amelia further than she ever thought she could go. He's in her ear through a headset, guiding her through a crime scene where a man was literally steamed alive. It's gruesome, and Amelia is breaking down. But Lincoln is relentless. He tells her to cut the hands off the victim to preserve the evidence. She loses it, and honestly, who wouldn't? But Lincoln reminds her that the next victim is already out there, waiting. They find the next clue, a piece of an old map and some asbestos. This leads them to a derelict slaughterhouse. The killer has tied a woman and her young daughter up in a place where the tide is coming in. Oh, and he's also released a bunch of hungry rats. It's a race against the rising water. Amelia gets there, but she's too late to save the woman. She manages to save the girl, but the killer slips away again. The frustration in Lincoln's room is palpable. He's a genius, but he's a genius behind a screen. And his eyes are witnessing things that will haunt her forever. The clues start to get more personal. A piece of bone, some old subway maps, and a fingerprint that belongs to Lincoln? No, Wait, it's a fingerprint from a crime scene Lincoln worked on years ago. That's when the penny drops. The killer isn't just some random history buff. He's someone with a grudge, someone who knows Lincoln's work inside and out. Amelia discovers that the scraps of paper they've been finding are part of a logo for an old publishing house. The book is called The Bone Collector. It's a fictional story about a killer in old New York, and their guy is reenacting the chapters. But here's the kicker. The last chapter involves the killer going after the person hunting him. While the police are off chasing leads at a pier, the killer decides it's time for a house call. He sneaks into Lincoln's apartment, killing the cops guarding the door. We finally see his face. It's Richard Thompson, the technician who's been maintaining Lincoln's medical equipment this whole time. Talk about a big mistake in trusting the help. Richard reveals his true identity. He's a former forensics cop whose life was ruined because Lincoln testified that he faked evidence. He's been waiting for Lincoln to be at his most vulnerable to take his revenge. This climax is intense. You've got a guy who can't move against a guy with a knife. Richard starts tilting Lincoln's bed, trying to crush him or cut him. But Lincoln, even paralyzed, is still the smartest guy in the room. He uses his one working finger to manipulate the bed's controls, trapping Richard's hand in the machinery. It's a brutal, desperate struggle. Just as Richard breaks free and goes in for the kill, Amelia bursts through the door. She doesn't hesitate. She takes the shot, and the nightmare is finally over. In the end, we see a much different Lincoln. It's Christmas, his apartment is full of people, and he's actually smiling. He's decided that life is worth living, even if it's from a chair. He and Amelia have formed this bond that's hard to describe. It's not exactly a romance, but it's a deep, soul-level connection built in the trenches of the worst week ever. This story really hits home because it shows that even when you're stripped down to almost nothing, your mind and your will are things no one can take away from you. Sometimes the thing that saves you isn't a miracle cure. It's just having a reason to wake up the next morning.